Yo, 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 this your boy Larry, and I'm chilling and vibing with Fresh Hymns. What's going on, man?
What's up, baby? Chilling and vibing out here. You already know what the fuck going on. I'm at my crib right now in Charlotte on this podcast with my boy. You know what I'm saying? We out here working, been hustling, making moves and plays, elevating.
Oh yeah,
So,
man. I appreciate you for coming on, man.
yes, sir. Appreciate you having for me.
So how life in Charlotte, man?
Well, I will first off say that the weather is warm here, but the weather is a bit bipolar. So it was colder this week, but it feels good today. I'm actually over in the Ballantyne area right now. So it's a lot more bougie over here, for lack of a better term. It's on the outskirts of southern Charlotte, so life's going good though, man. Traffic is still a bitch. The weather's still A1, and yeah, man, we out here just doing our thing.
So how did you get the rap name Fresh M's?
Oh yeah, so um, I went to my first studio session my senior year of high school with my boy, and it was kind of on some joking around shit, like I'm not really too focused on making music at the time type deal. And so we went in there. I laid down a verse on the track, and obviously my boy was like, "Well, we gotta have a name for you. You can't just say featuring NA, not applicable." So I was like, "All right, man." Like I think it was I forget the original names that we had come up with, but ultimately Fresh was like, "All right, man. Like I like fashion. I'm a very fashion oriented individual, so Fresh." And then M's is my initials for Mike McEwen. So Fresh M's, pretty simple origin of Fresh M's there.
That's what's up. Cause I was wondering, man. I said Fresh M's. I ain't never heard that, before. It always been a little or a big, but not the fresh. You know what I'm saying? So I get it now.
Yeah, I try to stay away from the Lil. Everybody wants to be Lil. And honestly, man, like I work out a lot, so I don't really look at myself as little.
So how long have you been rapping?
About 9 years now. 9 years. I wrote for about a year. I practiced my writing skills and my actual, just like, writing poetry for about a year and a half before I actually laid something down on wax. But yeah, man, it definitely 9 years of hard, consistent, disciplined grind. Really being in this shit like full feet in, making moves, not making excuses, being aggressive. I had a lot of people come and go, a lot of ties that I've had to connect, or a lot of connections that I've made, and a lot of times that I've had to cut as well. That's just part of the journey. But I think that me, what's kept my journey and my dreams alive is just my consistency, man. Just staying, staying down, keeping my head, you know, facing forward on what I need to be doing every single day, blocking out the distractions and all the nonsense that is meant to pull you off your shit. So it's been a 9 years of exhausted hustle, but I love what I'm doing, so I'll never give up on it because it's not something that I do. It's ultimately who I am.
Oh yeah. So who did you look up to, while you was writing, who you was listening to that inspired you to want to become a rapper?
Fun fact: my brother in high school was actually a rapper. He went by the name Menace. He dropped a mixtape back in high school that I actually used to pass around in the hallways to my boys back in middle school for $5 a pop. This is when the vinyl CDs were still popular. Everyone still had the little the radios, and not the cassette tapes, but the portable
CD
DVD
players.
players. So yeah, so that kind of introduced me to the game a little bit, or I guess allowed me to kind of start diving into it a little bit more deeper. But I think when it really started, when I started seeing my passion form, was at a young age, probably when I was in like first grade or kindergarten, man. Like I was listening to like Bone Thugs and Harmony and 50 Cent and Jay Z and Eminem and Lil Wayne. The golden age of hip hop. Ultimately, as we look back on it now, as we see it, the industry has evolved over the years to where it is now. People who were born in the '90s appreciated that early 2000s era. I think more than anybody. So I felt that passion for hip hop starting to burn in me at a young age. I didn't know that it was going to become something one day. I just was like, yo, like I like this type of music. This music resides with me. I can relate to it. I'm very, rhythmic oriented individual. So I just clicked with it, man. And it lay dormant for a little while, and then I got to the end of my high school career and it kind of resurfaced itself again and kind of pulled me back in.
So your Hoop Buzzing live performance, how did you get that gig?
So Chuck T, I've done a bunch of showcases here in Charlotte, so I've made a lot of connections over the years. I've been very assertive with putting myself out there and making as many connections as possible. So me and DJ Chuck T, he's been in a couple of the showcases that I've been at over the past couple of years, and I've managed to create a good relationship with him. And so uh, he had just kind of sent out a blast text message to a bunch of people in his group, and I actually went to one of his music music classes, like seminars. There was like a 3 day course, and so that's where actually I found out about it. And then he had sent me a text about it, and I was like, all right, like man, like it's a good opportunity to get some more content and promote my song that had just come out and prepare it for the video that I was going to shoot as well. So ultimately, man, he just came with me and having a connection with Chuck T, man. He's a powerful DJ in the city here of Charlotte. So, I definitely appreciate that connection, that relationship with him. And he's always looking out.
Being in Charlotte, man, so I know you know the baby. How you
Oh
feel
yeah.
about that, man? You feel he done put Carolina on for the Carolinas?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's really no denying it. I mean, it's once he made it, once he blew up, everybody wants to know where you come from. So, he's repping the QC. You walk into Audio Box Studios down here, you see Billion Dollar Baby, plastered on the floor. I go to Max in the studios now. I don't go to Audio Box anymore. It kind of took me a little while to find my studio and my home studio, but yeah, man, the baby, he's done good things for the city of Charlotte as far as giving it a legitimacy and allowing people to take it a little bit more seriously. It's hard to come out of Charlotte, man. There's not a lot of love here in Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to make it, and ain't nobody want to support each other. So you really got to be thick-skinned and stay on your grind and do your thing and just trust in the process. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you work hard, no matter how many people hate on you, you're gonna prevail if God has it in His will and He says it's time. Ultimately,
And it's always like that, man. You gotta support each other, and that's how. And I feel that's how Atlanta, Atlanta got a lot of major artists because everybody support each other. And
right?
once everybody else, in the Carolinas, Florida, they do it too. But in the Carolinas, once everybody starts supporting each other and stop hate, what I'm saying, it'll be more artists out there, and that
Hmm.
all it takes is the support.
Absolutely. I mean, it's it doesn't cost you anything to let someone know that you fuck with them and encourage them because it's a long road, man. It's survival of the fittest out here. At the end of the day, it really you got your team around you, but it's up to you to keep this shit going. Ain't nobody gonna get up and go to the studio for you. You gotta go to the studio 4, 5, 6 hours a day and love what you're doing and kindle that flame because once you stop being disciplined and consistent, that flame gonna die out. Ain't nobody gonna pick it up for you except for you.
That's true. I saw, man, you open up for Sexy Red and Jacquees. Them just a few. How was that experience?
Yeah, man. Sexy Red was my first like major gig where I actually got a chance to hit a stage on a legitimate platform like that. That was down at Fayetteville Motor Speedway, and yeah, that was a pretty solid experience, man. Being able to be treated as a special artist that day, and Chuck T was actually there as well. He was actually hosting that event. It's called Apple Chill, which is a festival they do every single year down there. So I was walking around, getting personable with the fans and the people, passing out my flyer, what I'm saying, marketing myself out there, and I got a chance to hit the stage and drew a bit of a crowd for people who came to watch me perform that day. So that was a lot of fun. Definitely a memorable experience. Probably one of the actual literal biggest stages that I've been up on at that point. And then yeah, Jacquees was something out of a movie, man. It's something that every artist ultimately dreams about. When you're in your lowest points of your career and everything seems slow and stagnant, and you got that vision in your head of performing in front of a very packed venue where everybody pulling out their camera lights and shit like that. So when I flew out to LA, that was a big 360 moment for me, touching down and walking out of LAX. And you know, trying to get out to LA was an absolute nightmare, trying to get out there for the longest time. And the door finally opened for me. And when it opened in a pretty grand fashion. And went out there. I had a cousin that actually lived out there that came to watch me perform that night. So that was cool, being able to perform in front of my family. And then obviously, when they had their cameras pulled out for me, man, it was a snapshot of a moment, kind of one of those moments where God kind of gives you a taste of success, and it's designed to kind of keep you going, to become fueled off the success and not full of it. So that was very motivating. At my darkest moments, those are the things that you dream about as an artist, those moments like that. So definitely fired me up.
Your song Wavy. How did that song came about? And
So
the video dope, man. I like that.
thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, so I actually have a couple of my songs that random producers found my Instagram. They sent me an email blast of a bunch of beats, and that beat was in one of the packs. I always look, I always take time to look through the packs. These guys work hard at what they do, and I appreciate them, because without a producer, I would say there's no rapper, but there's no song. Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's no musical composition. Rappers can still be rappers and producers can still be producers, but you need them at the end of the day. So I take time to listen to all the beats, and I came across that beat, and I was like, wow, this is, I know pretty quickly when I hear a beat, almost instantly, within the first couple seconds, if it's going to be something that catches my ear, so to say. And that one did. And I sat on it for a little while. I didn't know if I wanted to buy it or not. I wrote to the song. I wrote the song in like a day. So when a beat is it for me, it'll just kind of write itself. The ideas will just flow. Then I stashed it away in my archive on my phone. And then as I was looking to drop a new song coming up on that time when I did drop Wavy, that's the one that kind of came across my radar again. And I was like, I forgot about this song. So I blew the dust off of it and went up in the studio and knocked it out that night. And I had the engineer in the studio. He was like, "Hey, you got a bit of a gift here, bro. You know what I'm saying? This shit is bumping, like it's very groovy, very saucy." So at that point, I was like, "All right, well, that's another one." And I knew I had to get a video out for it as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, that video dope, man. Autopilot. I'm gonna take you back, man. I gotta take you back to the pandemic era because I saw you had shot that video during the pandemic. How did you pull
Yeah,
that off?
yeah, it was and the hard part about the early part of my career, and I'm still doing it at times now, is I had to put on multiple hats. I had to be a manager. I had to be the booking agent. I had to make all the phone calls. And I had to, you know, call my friends up and tell them to get the hoes to pull up to the video type deal. So it was a lot of work, and trying to find a boat where I could get like, I think the limit was like 6 or 7 people on it at the time. All the yacht companies were like, nah, no more than 7. And then I found one that like allowed like 10 people on there, and I was like, all right, well, this is it right here. You know what I'm saying? This is all I could find. And it was nice. It was a nice ass boat too. And the captain apparently was actually from the county where I'm from here in Charlotte. I'm from Union County. So I was like, all right, well, that was just meant to be. You know what I'm saying? So my boy lived down in Miami as well at the time, so he kind of helped arrange the video for me. I had a couple of friends that I actually met when I used to live down there up in North Beach. So I already had kind of a foundation laid down there. I just kind of had to put the pieces together. And we went out there and just winged it, man. I was like, get as many bottles, get as much weed as possible. And, obviously the women are going to want to have fun. And so we did. We had a blast. It was definitely a memorable experience. And I don't know if you saw earlier, my boy, I don't know if you heard him earlier. One of my boys that I live with here, one of my roommates at the house, he was actually in the video as well. So he actually lives here at the house with me in Charlotte now. So he loved that video. He still talks about it to this day.
That's what's up. Who would you like to do a collab with?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. The biggest artist that I want to collab with is Drake and Travis Scott. You know what I'm saying? Travis Scott's very inspiring to me. His story, his style, his image, his persona. It's those are my big, aiming for the stars, shooting for the moon type of features that I like to. That's why I set the bar for myself ultimately. I like to get on the track, with an old veteran one day, like Wayne maybe or Eminem. Compete. Definitely go head to head with some veteran artists and see what we can cook up. Yeah, that's where my mindset's at right now. Is going for the big dogs.
So if you could give advice to an upcoming artist, what would you tell them?
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and just say, "Oh, don't ever give up and keep going," because that's what everybody says. A lot of people question if like this is for them or not, and you're like, oh, am I supposed to be doing this? Do I really have the it factor to make it? And my piece of advice to them is really, I put God first in my journey. Ultimately, that's how I've had the wisdom to figure out, make the decisions that I've made, and let the people go that I've let go, and bring the people on that I brought on, and just come to a consensus with the fact that this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. So once you get those questions out of the way, and you know that this is what you got to do, this is your purpose, this is your calling, it's a matter of applying the action at that point, removing the doubt. Okay, getting rid of that doubt, because that doubt is going to kill, it's going to put your dreams to death ultimately. Staying positive no matter what, even if you're delusionally positive, stay positive no matter what, because your mind's always going to be negative no matter what. Trust the process, man. I know people say trust the process, but the pain that you feel inside of you is the more you accept it and go with it and become fully submissive to the process, the better the process is going to work. And you start to mold into the artist that you're supposed to become, and the maximized version of yourself as far as your level of skill in this craft and in this industry. Stay on 10 toes, keep a very small circle around you. Know that the people that are with you are going to be with you to the end. Don't share too much information with people, man. At the end of the day, no one's got you like you got you. So, and I'd say the hardest obstacle of this journey that I think every artist goes through is the bad businessmen, the lying promoters, the people who offer you things that don't actually give it to you. The lying DJs. You know what I'm saying? The DJs. You know what I'm saying? I've dealt with them a lot. They offer to play my stuff on the radio, shooting some bread. They run off promoters, same thing. So I've learned to kind of pick up on those themes over the years now. But in my early career, very frustrating for me. But that is part of the journey. That is part of the process. That's what gives you that thick skin to be able to survive the hatred and the envious, negative energy that comes from the world when what you're doing finally does work, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows when you make it. Shit gonna get harder when you make it sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. So, Fresh Yams, if somebody want to look you up on social media, how could they do that?
Yeah, so obviously my Instagram is fresh_ms23. I don't really be on Twitter that much, to be honest with you, man. I'm not really much of a tweeter. Actually don't even remember my Twitter handle. My TikTok is freshms. I think just all one word. I have a link tree in my bio. So if you go to my Instagram, fresh_ms23, which is obviously my main business page, go to my link tree. It'll give you all my YouTube, my SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever your streaming platform of choice is. And, it'll be served right to you. So you don't got to dig too much for it.
Well, Fresh Yams, I appreciate you for coming to chill and vibe. But before we go, let everybody know what we doing.
Chilling and vibing, baby. Chilling and
We
vibing. Fresh in the 704.
appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.